I'm joined by Dr. Casey Harbine of St. Pat's for another edition of Morning Rounds. Thanks for waking up with us today.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
And today's topic is blood donation. January, National Blood Donor Month, right? And that's to raise awareness.
Right. That more than 4.5 million people need blood transfusions a year, around one person every 2 seconds. Wow. And all that ability to receive blood depends on the amount of blood supplied in local blood banks that really relies on people in the community donating their blood.
What are the reasons that many people need blood?
Right. So trauma is a big one. This is a season that has some trauma in it, and so that's very common place. Sometimes people need massive numbers of units of blood. Other causes of internal bleeding, ulcers, things like that. Sometimes you need blood after a big surgery where you lose some blood. And then people undergoing cancer treatment often need blood transfusions to help them get through because the treatment itself suppresses our bone marrow that makes our blood. And then other causes of chronic diseases that can lead to anemia.
So if a family member were to need blood, could I potentially give them some of my blood?
No. People can actually donate blood for themselves, like if they have an upcoming surgery. They can actually donate blood more than a month in advance if they have that kind of lead time. But you are not able to actually donate blood directly to a family member, and that's for a number of different reasons. There are a number of different types of blood. So there's type A, B, AB, and O. And each one of those blood types is distinguished by what we call an Rh factor, either being positive or negative. Rh is a protein that's either present or not present on the surface of a red blood cell. And so that is one of the things that the blood bank actually looks for to try and match a unit of blood with the recipient, the person who's going to get the blood from the donor blood, so as to reduce the risk of having a reaction. In addition, once the blood is donated, it's screened for 11 different diseases, some of which are HIV, hepatitis C, and hepatitis B, and all those processes have to be taken place before a unit of blood is given. So while you can't actually donate a unit of blood for a family member, if a family member is needing blood, it's always a good idea to give blood so that the blood bank is able to replace the units of blood.
So are there different types of blood products then?
So whole blood, so blood that's actually taken out of you when you donate blood, can be divided up into a number of different products. The most common one is what we call packed red blood cells, and that's what you get if you're anemic or you lose blood. But then you can also have platelets. Platelets are the type of blood cell that help us form blood clots, and those people can have a low platelet count and need transfusion. Then there's also what we call plasma, which is mostly water, but it has some proteins and salts. And sometimes people who are prone to bleeding, either because they're on blood thinners or have a condition like hemophilia, they might need that.
How long do blood donations last?
So in our body, red blood cells last about 3 months, but on the shelf, they can only be on the shelf for 42 days, so they need to be constantly replaced. Platelets can only be on the shelf for 5 days, and then plasma can be frozen for an entire year.
So who can donate?
Right, so in the state of Montana, anyone over 16, if they have parental consent, you have to weigh more than 120 pounds, and you have to be generally healthy.
Right.
Otherwise, that's everyone.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, you can email them right to us, morningrounds@kpax.com.